When you have a garment fail or something just doesn't turn out the way you'd expected, what do you do with that garment? Do you throw it in the garbage? Do you rip it apart and try over again? Do you cut it up to make a whole nother project or scraps? What exactly do you do with it? Let's talk about how I've dealt with many of my fails that I've had over the last year. Hi, I'm Caroline and welcome to Sweet Pea Sewing. So I started sewing about a year ago and I've had many fails, which, is pretty normal, right? Especially I'm learning. I recently retired a year ago and I decided to take up sewing, and really I'd only ever made pillowcases before that. That was it. So my learning curve was straight up. And that's not easy when you're in your 60s. But I've loved it. I really have, even the fails. But I'd say that my success rate is probably about 30%, which means I've had about 70% of fails. And how I would describe success rate is I want to wear it. I want to pull it out of my closet and I want to wear it. And even though at the end of many things that I've made, I thought I would wear it, in reality I don't. The two biggest learning curves that I've had, which surprised me so much, because I honestly thought that it would be the sewing technical part, but no, the two hardest learning curves for me have been size and fit and fabric, understanding fabric. Those are the two biggest things. Actually, the sewing techniques, yes, there's been tons of challenges there, understanding my sewing machine and different techniques, button plackets, collars. Collars have been a challenge. All the different things that you have to learn when you're sewing or need to learn. But yeah, the fitting and the fabric, the two F's, have really been a challenge to me. And what I've done with many of my makes, I've donated, some have gone in the garbage. I'm sorry to say, they just were so bad and they just didn't really have anything that could be done with them. And other ones I've cut up and used to make bags out of, or maybe a tank top or something like that. But I've had a lot. I've had a lot. Today I want to talk about three not so successful makes that I've had, and I'll tell you why. And all of them are for different reasons. And I'd like to I actually have remade one of them. And the other two I would like to eventually make, but I'm going to wait until this spring because they're kind of spring outfits. So let's start with garment number one. Now, I featured this garment, and actually the one I'm wearing, a few videos ago, and I'll link that for you. This is Butterick 6456. And this is made from a thrifted fabric, and I very often try and make something out of thrifted fabric when I just don't know what the fit's going to be like. Because I've definitely found I understand my body shape so much more now. I often get gaping here, which is, more of a concave chest, especially as you get older. That is a big one that I found. I've got to be careful of my tummy. I have a bit of a rounder tummy. There's a few things. But this one, I started off with a size 20, and I'll show you a picture of me in it. It's just too big. It really is. It's too big over the shoulders, and it's not flowy enough fabric. So with this one, which like I say, I met recently, I kind of struck out with both size and fabric. But the fabric was okay because this was my intention, was to use thrifted fabric. And the size was okay as well. I've learned from that. I've learned that a lot of these big four patterns do tend to be a bit larger, on me anyway. Now, this one, I would like to try and fix it. And I'd love your input on that because I'm going to chop off these sleeves. As you can see, this one's made from rayon and it's made in a smaller size. It's made in size 18. So it fits much better and it flows much better. These sleeves don't stick out like these do. But I thought that I would chop the sleeves off, or these flouncy parts. Now, the shoulders are the part that I'm a little bit flummoxed with because I thought, well, I could cut the shoulders, just cut them off. I don't know. I guess I could pick it out, but I'd love to just chop it. It probably would be better to pick it out. And then maybe make it narrower up here so that I can attach the sleeve. Would that work? Let me know. So that's garment number 1. And like I say, the fabric choice was okay because I was just doing a toile really. But sizing again with every new pattern is definitely something that I need to always look at. So let's look at garment number 2. Garment number 2 is the Style Art Monty dress. And again, I used a bed sheet. It's actually a lovely, I love this bed sheet. The black and the blue just look so amazing together. But, oh, did I struggle with this collar. Style Art does not have great instructions. They're very minimal in their, on their printed patterns. They've got a lot better with tutorials, but I could not find a tutorial for the Monty dress. I really had no problems with these parts of it, but when it came to the neck, I think it doesn't look too bad because it is a darker color, but I really struggled with it. And I did find a YouTuber that was doing a tutorial or sew along on the collar, and it was just very difficult to follow. I really wish that I had found Katrina's from Lifting Pins and Needles because she does a beautiful tutorial on how to put in this camp collar. It's exactly what I needed for this. So this was good. Now this is a size 16. Here's a picture of me in it. I need to size down to a 14 I found with Style Art now. So it's a bit big and kind of bulky. So here again, fabric choice I think is okay. I think a cotton would actually be fine in it. I think a bit more of a flowy fabric would be better. Again, it's thrifted, so I'm not too worried about it. It was easy to sew with, so it gave me a good test in that respect. And I think it looks okay, but I definitely, like I say, the sizing and the collar. And because it's more of a summery dress, I'm going to wait until next spring, even though often when I make something, and this blouse is classic of that, I like to try and make it immediately after, because then it really sort of cements it in my brain, but I'm just not going to wear it, and who knows what size I'll be by next spring. I could be heavier, I could be less. So I just want to wait, and I think it'll be fine. I know I can follow Katrina's sew along now with the camp collar, and I shouldn't have any problems. Everywhere else was fine, the buttons and all that, and I like these cute little pockets and sleeves and everything turned out quite well. Oh, and there's a lovely pleat design feature in the back, and it's got these you know, the vents, and that was all fine. So it was really just the collar that I struggled with. So anyway, learning, but it's all good. Let's look at my final garment. So my final garment is this moss jacket by Helen's Closet. There's 2 versions of the moss jacket, and I tried the first one. It's got quite a shawl around the neck. It was a total disaster. I'm afraid that was one. I used a beautiful linen. It was just not a smart choice. Anyway, that went in the garbage. It just was totally unusable. It was horrible. So I thought, well, I'll try the simpler version of the moss jacket. It doesn't have the shawl. Now, to sew it up was fantastic. It sewed up beautifully. But this fabric, now, I had bought this fabric on sale at Fabricland, which is a national chain here in Canada. And I found it in the bargain area, and it's horrible. It is horrible. It's the most beautiful color, but it's all polyester. All of the fabrics that you get in the bargain area they have unknown fibers, and it's often over top of what it might be. So you might be able to pick underneath, see what it is. But this is the worst polyester, and it doesn't flow properly. The shoulders are too stiff. I just think it looks very boxy on, and I'm not 100% sure whether I even like the pattern itself, to be perfectly blunt with you. You have the opening at the back, and I find that I keep wanting to pull it in to be together, which is me. It's not the pattern, but you find these patterns that just don't suit you. This is just my marking, but you can see by that the fabric is just not a good fabric. But you know what? For a toile, I didn't really mean this to be a toile, but it is kind of a toile. Will I wear it? No, I won't. And the main reason I won't wear it is because of the horrible polyester fabric. So I think I'll wash it to get the little marking out and then donate it, and just hope that somebody does like it, somebody that doesn't get hot easily. Will I make it again? I don't know. That's still up for debate, because I really don't want to spend the time and the effort putting into something that I'm not sure of. There's many more kind of little jackets out there I'd like to try, so I think I'm probably going to put that one aside. Maybe down the road, we'll see. I think if you made it in the spring, maybe a really lovely cover up or layer up might be a good thing. Let me know if you've had experience with this or the Style Art Monty. I'd love to hear your thoughts on making them, what fabric you used, sizing. Size-wise, I think this one was fine. I think it was fine, but it just doesn't sit across the shoulders very well. And in the pattern itself, it says to use a flowy fabric, and this is definitely not flowy enough. So those were my 3 fails, or challenges, however you want to frame it. Did I learn from them? 100%. The fabric that I used for all 3 of them was not precious fabric. 2 of them were thrifted fabric, and the other one was, I think I got it for $3 a meter, which is pretty darn cheap. So, it maybe $10 I spent for all 3. The time's the big one. Do you find that? The time's the big one. Because if you put in, and I'm not a fast sewist, if you put in a day or whatever making any one of those, sometimes it might be a day and a half for me, that's a lot of time that's gone, but it also gives me so much better understanding. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love it if you left a comment and liked and subscribed. Happy sewing, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.